No alibi, bye. Say goodbye, bye. Don't ask why. I might die. You either fly, or you fry. Every try. You always lie. Every female, every guy. Don't try to escape and get high. Maybe for a minute, not even a second. Roll that blunt while you count your blessings. Rolled outside and pointed my weapon. Like Eazy-E on Ruthless Records. Just like I thought, the food kept stepping. Smell like shit from shit I stepped in. Look in the mirror and point my weapon. You so soft you won't do nothing. Wanna be starting something. Got to be starting something. Wants to be starting something. Got to be starting something. Get low and take you under. Hang high and make it over. Shoot yourself in the middle when the pain is thunder. No, fuck that shit. Smoke a blunt, it's the best I get. I live my life with no regrets. And so I'm stuck with the pain. Live my life with no regrets. And I'm stuck with the shame. That's paranoia for ya. Paranoia that I didn't get over. That's paranoia for ya. That's why you're drunk, not sober. That's paranoia for ya.
Me and no shirt, brother. I'm not showing you no nipples. I'm not naked, brother. Stay focused. Stop worrying about my shirt. Stop being tender, my brother. Raise your testosterone. Go to GNC and get you some testosterone tablets, my G. Go to GNC and get you some testosterone tablets, my G. Stop being tender. It's too much tenderitis. It's too much tenderitis in the black male population. Okay? Put your Garveyite gangster suit on, brother. It's too much tenderitis in the conscious movement. Put your Garveyite gangster suit on, my brother. Hit the cat. I don't drink. If I got to blow some rum or gin on my shrines, that's different. But other than that, I'm not a drinker or smoker. If I got to blow some smoke on the shrines, other than that, I don't smoke or drink. That ain't no blonde hair, is it, pretty young thing?
But anyhow, Puddingham's glad to be back, and he's going to sit right down here and listen very carefully.
Trying to suck us in with the old teddy bear pitch, eh? In case you didn't catch that, that was not Blueberry the bear. Blueberry the bear was on last month. That particular evangelist bear is named Puddingtame. And finally, we have evangelist Jonathan Bell, and Jonathan here is going to guide us gently toward a fuller understanding of the gospel.
You know, people don't even want to know the truth. People don't want to know the truth in the Bible. If you want to turn the channel, go ahead, fool, turn the channel. If you want to learn something about God, shut your mouth and listen to me for a minute. It don't matter how big or how hot shot you think you are for the executive for IBM. I mean, give me a break. What?
It's a new day in the rap game. Nobody sells records but Sean Poe, motherfuckers.
What up? This is Marlawn, a.k.a. Sherlock Homeboy, back like I never left, fast as a statue, being nosy, minding my business. What up, Sherlock Homie, Sherlock Nation? Are you not entertained? If you like this episode anyway, please donate $2, or better yet, just leave a 5-star rating, which is like donating $100. Welcome to Sherlock Homeboy, the podcast. We're wrapping up day 1, part 1, audio from Lori Vallow Daybell trial, jury selection. The marathon continues. Let's go.
All right, thank you. Please be seated. we, at this point, suspended the simulcast to consider for further potential in-camera questioning of jurors on this issue. It is, however, still on the record here in this courtroom.
Oh shit! I thought we only had like 30 minutes left. We got a whole hour and a half left.
So, juror number 278, first of all, you're not in trouble because you're sitting there by yourself. This simply goes just to the fact that we don't want we want to be able to talk openly about what you may know about this case without others being influenced. So, why don't we start back in order since I passed on that, and you can wait there if you want, Mr. Archibald, but I'll begin with the state on additional voir dire on knowledge of the case, and then I'll move over to the defense. I'll have a few of my own questions actually on that topic. So, in your questionnaire, Juror 278, you say you've watched or seen about this case through television, internet, and social media. Can you explain a little more of how much of that you've seen on the case or how much you've followed?
I saw it in the news and also the Dateline of the NBC something. So I follow those two.
Okay. Did you watch a Netflix documentary about it?
No.
Okay. When do you think was the last time you saw something about this on more than the news, like a Dateline special or something?
I can't remember, but did it happen before the pandemic? Before, yeah. So that's 2019 or 2020?
Okay. Looking at the responses in the questionnaire, the court will pass for voir dire at this point to allow both the state and the defense to ask any additional questions of this juror.
Ma'am, you indicated that you saw Dateline a while ago, and news features. How recent the news features? How long ago was it you watched any news about the Vallow Daybell case?
After that, we don't see anything, so it was maybe 2020 was the last one. I can't remember, but after that, there's no, because there's a lot of things going on around, so it was not in the news anymore after those years.
Okay. Anything that you saw on the Dateline or anything you saw a while ago, are you going to be able to put that aside? I see you nodding your head, but yes. I didn't hear anything. I'm sorry.
Yes, I can.
Okay. And sometimes people who are in your position will be sitting in the jury box and they'll be hearing testimony. And they'll be waiting to hear something that they saw on TV or they heard. Are you going to promise us you're not sitting there thinking about when am I going to hear about something I saw on Dateline?
Yeah, I promise that I won't be biased.
Okay. And you understand that it's really important to Ms. Vallow Daybell and to the people of Idaho that your decision is based only on the evidence in this courtroom?
Yes, I do.
Do you have any concerns about your ability to do that and be fair to both sides?
No.
Okay. Thank you, Your Honor. The state has nothing further.
Thank you, Ms. Smith. Mr. Archibald, you can inquire.
Juror number 278, do you recall the details of the Dateline special?
I can't anymore.
Get rid of her. She gotta go. Hey, Lori, you are fucked. She gotta go.
Long time ago.
On your questionnaire, you indicate that you've watched television, internet, and social media about this case. So television would include like the news. Mm-hmm. Is that a yes?
Yes.
And television would include the Dateline special.
Yes.
And then the internet, what would that include?
Like Google about the situation, the case.
Is that something that just pops up on your...
Oh, we already heard this. They set me back. We already heard that. We was wrapping it up. Good job, buddy. Yeah, because Google don't just pop up. Let me try to find where we were at. Good job, buddy. I don't know, why did my computer do that? We already heard this. Good job, buddy. Yeah, you're paying attention. Let's go back to about right. Let's say right here. Let's check out right here. Yeah.
Do you know why? I'd rather become...
You know what? These commercials on YouTube is just out of hand. They're forcing you to pay.
Our questioning at the end for different issues. We've got juror number 781 advised of some potential issue where they didn't want to sign their juror affirmation because I think they had talked to someone about the case or something. So I'll bring that up with them in the presence of everyone in the individual voir dire section on juror 781, and I think we'll just let that issue remain for the moment and bring that juror in with the rest of the pool. So we've got the second group ready to be brought in at this time for further voir dire. Is the state ready to proceed?
Yes, Your Honor.
Is the defense ready to proceed?
Yes.
Okay, and I'll note on the record counsel is present along with the defendant, so we'll have group number 2 brought in for voir dire. While we're doing that also, counsel, I'll just confirm out of that last group the juror numbers that were passed for cause, and to put that on the record, according to the court's records, is juror number 4751, 168, 174, 338, 346, 459, and 538 is what we came up with of jurors remaining that are passed for cause that will move on to peremptory challenges when we get there.
Yeah, I think we already went through this. Let's go right here. Yeah, let's go right here.
I would ask that all those in attendance abide by that.
This audio sucks too, by the way.
Governing order, and that it be reported to me if anybody has violated that order, and the bailiffs there are authorized to confiscate any devices from someone who does not comply with the terms of that order. The next matter we'll bring up then is noting that the defense and state are both here, as well as the defendant who is present. We have a group of jurors for voir dire at this time. Is the state ready to proceed?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Is the defense ready to proceed? Very well. I'll address the jurors now. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, thank you for returning. You've been recalled as prospective jurors in this case. I'll briefly again reintroduce my staff here. I'm Judge Stephen W. Boyce, District Judge for Fremont County. I'm in charge of the courtroom in these proceedings today. The court clerk is Shannon Holstein, who is seated to my right and keeps track of minutes, trial proceedings, and exhibits, and also administers oaths in the case. There are bailiffs here, Deputies Ravello, Holmes, and Beish, who assist in maintaining courtroom order, working with the jury. The court reporter, Patty Bath, is here taking a stenographic record of what's said during the proceedings, and Courtney Stallings is my staff attorney who will assist me with legal issues from time to time. And she's seated at the desk over by the window. Each of you has been qualified to serve as a juror in this case, and each of you have now filled out a questionnaire that was been reviewed by...
Donation from the Sherlock Nation is the gas station of this operation. For me to stay subscription and paywall free and to keep my commercials at a minimum while helping me stay independent and focused. My address, PayPal, Venmo, and Cash App is in the information box. Leaving a 5-star review will help just as much. It takes a village to raise an independent podcast. The only way I could fail is from lack of support.
By the court and by counsel, and it's been determined that you were to be recalled for further voir dire questioning today. So the first thing that we do in this trial is to select 18 jurors total, which will be 12 jurors and 6 alternates from among you. At this time, then, I will have the clerk do a roll call. I'll further advise that we'll only be referring to you by your red card number. So that's the number on your red card. If you are being questioned or asked specific questions, it will help both the court and the parties keep track of who's making those responses. Just briefly hold your number up if you're called to answer a question for any reason. And at this time, we'll just have the court clerk, if you would, by reference only to those red card numbers, take a roll call of the jurors 1 through 15 who have appeared.
When I call your juror number, I'd ask you to answer honestly for the record. Juror number 745, juror number 746, juror number 755, juror number 756, juror number 776, juror number 781.
Okay, I'm not gonna be lazy, man. Just for kicks, man. Since I'm following, I want to write down them numbers. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Just snap out of it, man. I need to do a better job. I won't get more organized. I just came out. I'm changing things up. I'm delivering my content in a different way, longer blocks for certain podcasts. But overall, I just got to do a better job. Like I say, I'm getting used to this quarter-ass shit. I got to get back up to half-ass shit. I want to write down that.
Minister's oaths in the case. There are bailiffs here, deputies Ravello, Holmes, and Beige, who assist in maintaining courtroom order, working with the jury. The court reporter, Patty Bath, is here taking a stenographic record of what's said during the proceedings, and Courtney Stallings is my staff attorney who will assist me with legal issues from time to time. And she's seated at the desk over by the window. Each of you has been qualified to serve as a juror in this case, and each of you have now filled out a questionnaire that has been reviewed by the court and by counsel, and it's been determined that you were to be recalled for further voir dire questioning today. So the first thing that we do in this trial is to select 18 jurors total, which will be 12 jurors and 6 alternates from among you. At this time, then, I will have the clerk do a roll call. I'll further advise that we'll only be referring to you by your red card number. So that's the number on your red card. If you are being questioned or asked specific questions, it will help both the court and the parties keep track of who's making those responses. Just briefly hold your number up if you're called to answer a question for any reason. And at this time, we'll just have the court clerk, if you would, by reference only to those red card numbers, take a roll call of the jurors 1 through 15 who have appeared.
When I call your juror number, I'd ask you to answer honestly for the record. Juror number 745, juror number 746, juror number 755, juror number 756, juror number 776, juror number 781, juror number 829, juror number 876, juror number 894, juror number 929, juror number 961, juror number 1013, juror number 1039, juror number 1051, juror number 1095.
All right, thank you. You were previously introduced to this case when you came to get your questionnaires last week. I'll again briefly reintroduce the parties and their lawyers at this time and summarize what the case is about. The case has been brought by the state of Idaho, who I sometimes will be referring to as the prosecution. The state is represented by Lindsay Blake, who's the prosecutor for Fremont County. Thank you, Ms. Blake. Also, Rob Wood, who's the Madison County prosecuting attorney. Mr. Wood, if you'd stand, please, briefly. And also, Rachel Smith is a special prosecutor for this case, who's also representing the state. The defendant, Lori Vallow Daybell, is represented by her attorney, Jim Archibald, and her other attorney, John Thomas. Thank you, counsel. This case is a criminal matter, which means the defendant has been charged by the state of Idaho with a violation of the law. When you were here last week to complete your questionnaires, I read to you a summary of the charges in the indictment. I'll go through again a more abbreviated summary of those charges that have been filed in this case. With regard to the defendant, the state of Idaho alleges that Lori Vallow Daybell committed the crimes of count 1, conspiracy to commit first-degree murder and grand theft by deception, count 2, first-degree murder, count 3, conspiracy to commit first-degree murder and grand theft by deception, count 4, first-degree murder, count 5, conspiracy to commit first-degree murder, and count 7, grand theft. Mrs. Vallow Daybell has pled not guilty to these charges. Please remember, this is simply a description of the charge. It's not evidence. Under our law, in system of justice, every defendant is presumed to be innocent. This means two things. First, the state has the burden of proving the defendant guilty. The state has that burden throughout the trial. The defendant is never required to prove her innocence, nor does the defendant ever have to produce any evidence at all. Second, the state must prove the alleged crimes beyond a reasonable doubt. A reasonable doubt is not a mere possible or imaginary doubt. It is a doubt based on reason and common sense. It may arise from a careful and impartial consideration of all the evidence or from lack of evidence. If after considering the evidence you have a reasonable doubt about the defendant's guilt, you must find the defendant not guilty. Regarding the juror's duty, the duty of the jury is to determine the facts and then apply the law set forth in the instructions I'll later give you to those facts. In this way, you will decide the case. In applying the court's instructions as to the controlling law, you must follow those instructions regardless of your opinion of what the law is or what the law should be or what any lawyer may state the law to be. During the course of this trial, including the jury selection process, you are instructed that you are not to discuss this case among yourselves or with anyone else, including any use of email, text messaging, tweeting, blogging, electronic bulletin boards, or any other form of communication, electronic or otherwise. Do not conduct any personal investigation or look up any information from any source, including the internet. Do not form an opinion as to the merits of the case until after the case has been submitted to you for your determination. At this time, then, I will ask that the clerk administer an oath to the jury panel. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, if you would please rise and raise your right hand, I'll have you placed under oath.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that you will truthfully answer such questions as may be asked of you by court or counsel, touching upon your qualifications to sit as a trial juror in the cause now on trial? So help you God.
Thank you. You can be seated. I'll reflect on the record that all jurors took the oath. The clerk's now impaneled 15 prospective jurors for questioning in small groups today. Will the state stipulate the jurors are properly called and impaneled?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Does the defense stipulate as well?
Yes.
Very well. In this part of the jury selection, you'll be asked questions touching on your qualifications to serve as jurors in this particular case. This part of the case is known as the voir dire examination. Voir dire is an ancient Anglo-Norman term dating back hundreds of years to the origins of the common law. In Old French, it simply means to speak the truth. Voir dire examination is for the purpose of determining if your decision in this case would in any way be influenced by opinions which you now hold or by some personal experience or special knowledge which you may have concerning the subject matter to be tried. The object is to obtain 12 persons who will impartially try the issues of this case upon the evidence presented in this courtroom without being influenced by any other factors. Please understand this questioning is not for the purpose of prying into your personal affairs, but is only for the purpose of obtaining an impartial jury. Whenever you need to answer a question, I'll ask that you raise your hand and notify us, and when called upon to speak, please identify yourself by using that red card and the number thereon. Because these proceedings are being stenographically recorded by a court reporter, when you're communicating with the attorneys or with me, please answer audibly with answers such as yes or no instead of shaking your head or making gestures or saying uh-huh or uh-huh, so the court reporter can clearly keep a record of what was said. Also, please avoid talking at the same time as anyone asking you a question so the record is clear. Importantly here, we will have an opportunity for what we'll call individual voir dire. We'll discuss issues relating to pretrial publicity in the case, as well as any other sensitive personal subjects that you don't want to discuss in front of your fellow jurors, so that will be done in a more private setting. In this case, as I mentioned, there's been many people exposed to pretrial media coverage and publicity. And so in answering any questions with the whole group, please don't refer to any facts you know or tend to know or purport to know about the case from that media coverage, as we'll have an opportunity to discuss that with you individually so that other jurors don't hear information that they should not hear during this process. I'll also at this time ask the attorneys to avoid repeating any questions already asked by the court so we can keep things moving. The attorneys do have the right, however, to direct follow-up questions to any juror regarding that juror's response to previous questions. I'll talk about juror challenges next. The jury should be aware that during and following this examination, one or more of you may be challenged. Each side has challenges called for cause, which means they can ask that a juror be excused for some specific reason. In addition, each side will have a number of what are called peremptory challenges, and that means it's a challenge where they can ask a juror be excused without giving any reason for the dismissal. If you're excused by either side, please do not feel offended or feel that your honesty or integrity has been questioned, because it has not. At this time, then, the court will begin with the voir dire of the court, after which the attorneys for both parties will be given an opportunity to make their own voir dire examinations. If you're not called on a specific question that I have or the attorneys, please listen, as you may be called upon later to answer those same questions. I'll start off now by questioning about the juror questionnaires. As to the whole jury panel here of 15, the question is, are the answers given by each of you on the questionnaire still true and accurate to the best of your knowledge? Okay, everyone's indicated yes. Let me next talk about the time frame for this trial. If you're required to serve as a juror in this case, as I mentioned last week, it may be for a period of approximately 8 weeks. And the question is whether or not that would create a serious hardship upon you or your family, or your business or profession or occupation, so as to prevent you from rendering service as a fair and impartial juror in this case. So if you believe it would be a hardship for you to serve for that period of time, I would ask at this time that you please raise your red card number if you think that applies. Okay, we do have jurors. If you'll keep those held up for just a second longer, I'll make a list. 1095, 961, 829, 781, and 746 have responded to that question. Let me walk through those in order then, starting with the lowest number. So jurors 746, you've indicated you believe it would be a hardship if you were required to serve for that period of time. You've indicated that as well. It appears in your questionnaire. Would you please offer an explanation as to how you believe you'd suffer hardship if you had to serve?
My best friend was just diagnosed with brain cancer, and I'm going to be a care provider for her during radiation and chemotherapy. in the questionnaire, he said I did not know the timeline. I now know that she will start treatment next week.
And what is the nature of your relationship with this person? I know you said best friend. Can you be a little more specific on what you believe your responsibilities will be through that process?
I am a nurse, so I was going to be there to help her through her cares as she's most likely going to be pretty sick from her treatment. So to help drive her to and from appointments and to help her through the disease process.
All right. And to your knowledge, will you be primarily responsible for that, or are there a number of other people that may be able to assist as well?
There will be a number of people helping her.
All right. Let me pass to the state for any follow-up questions on the hardship that's been expressed by Juror 746.
The state does not have any follow-up questions, Your Honor.
All right. From the defense.
Your Honor, we do not object to this juror being excused for hardship.
All right. Does the state have any objection to an excusal for hardship?
Given that additional explanation, we do not, Your Honor.
Very well. Juror 746, we reviewed that in your questionnaire. Finding that additional explanation rises to the level where it could create an undue hardship for you. You'll be excused for that purpose. Thank you for appearing, for filling out your questionnaire. I'll just let you know as you leave that you may discuss the case with anyone now that you've been released. However, you're not required to. If you do choose to discuss your service as a juror, then please be respectful of the feelings of your fellow jurors in the process. And if anybody is critical of your service or insists on talking to you when you don't want to talk to them, please report that immediately to the court and we'll follow up with that. So that will complete the voir dire for Juror 746, and you're excused, ma'am. Let's next talk to Juror number 781.
I'm back here.
All right. Juror 781, in your questionnaire, you did not indicate that I saw a hardship being listed. Would you describe what you believe would be a hardship for your service?
Coincidentally, my brother just got diagnosed with stage 3 lung cancer. Just had the PET scan done, and we found out 2 days ago. I'll be taking care of him along with my wife. I'm the only family he has here in Boise.
And he's here locally as well, your brother?
I'm sorry?
Your brother does live here locally?
Yes, here in Boise.
All right. Any follow-up questions from the state as to the hardship expressed by Juror 781?
No, Your Honor, and the state would not have an objection to releasing him given that information.
All right. From the defense?
The defense does not object to his hardship.
Okay. Juror 781, sorry to hear of that news. You may be excused with the thanks of the court for expressing this hardship. As I mentioned to the other juror, if you choose to talk about the case to someone, do that voluntarily only. If someone insists on talking to you, please report that to the court. And if you do talk about it, please respect the feelings of your other jurors in any comments that you make. And with that, you have the court's thanks, and you can be excused for today. You're welcome. Let's next talk to juror number 829. All right, juror 829, in your questionnaire also, I didn't see any indication of a potential hardship.
If you want to support me and find out what makes me tick, please check out my autobiography, The Edict of Marlawn. The Cult of the Individual by Marlawn Heavenly VII, everywhere books are available. Go to your Walmart app or Amazon app, The Edict of Marlawn.
Explain to the court.
Yes. So after I understood what case this was, I discreetly consulted with my HR from my work to make sure that I was able to afford being able to come here for the expected length of the trial, they only offer 10 days worth of pay. So the concern was because it wasn't a guaranteed covering for income from my household, it was going to potentially lead to a problem.
All right. Do you feel it created financial hardship on you if you were in fact required to be here for the full 8 weeks? If you were required to be here for the entire 8 weeks, do you think that would create a financial hardship for you or your family?
I do believe that is a possibility.
All right. I'll ask if the state has any further questions for Juror 829.
No, Your Honor, and with that additional information, the state would not have an objection to him being released.
All right. I'll hear from the defense then on the issue.
The defense does not object to Juror 829 being excused for hardship.
All right. Thank you, Juror 829. With that explanation, the court will also find there's good cause to allow you to be excused based on the hardship you've expressed. I appreciate you checking with your employer and providing that additional information today. Did you hear the instructions I gave to the prior to about discussing the case afterwards? Did you hear the admonishment about discussing the case once you leave? Okay. If anybody does insist on contacting you, please just let the court know. You have the court's thanks for appearing and the time you spent, and you can be excused. Juror number 961. All right, for Juror 961, in your questionnaire also, you didn't provide explanation of a hardship there, so would you please describe what the hardship would be if you had to serve on this case?
I suffer from acute chronic anxiety as well as depression and a certain amount of post-traumatic stress disorder. And after consulting with my therapist, particularly in regards to the duration of this case, we were both very concerned about the possibility of further complications as a result of that. And in fact, I brought a note with me from my therapist.
This ain't motherfucking school, homie. Get out of here.
For the court to use if need be.
Okay, I appreciate that, Juror 961. If you don't mind, please pass that note to the bailiff, and I will consider that information and allow the state and defense to review it as well. All right, if you'd please pass that along and let the state review it as well as the defense. All right, Mr. Bailiff, you can return the note to the juror, please. Thank you. Does the state have any inquiry of Juror 961 regarding the request to be excused for hardship?
No, Your Honor. Based on the state's review of the note as well as the representations made by the juror, the state would have no objection to releasing him.
Thank you, Ms. Blake. Mr. Archibald?
The defense does not object to Juror 961 being excused for hardship.
All right. Thank you, counsel. Court has as well reviewed the information received from the juror today as well as the note provided from a counselor. Upon consideration of that, Juror
I hope he's not allowed to buy guns. Just saying.
961, the court does find a hardship would be had by you if you were required to serve during the duration of this trial, so you can be excused based on an undue hardship. Again, thank you for your time you've put into answering the questionnaire and appearing today. Regarding your service when you leave, as I mentioned, if anything comes up you think needs to be reported to the court, please let the court know. All right, thank you. Juror 1095.
I'm supposed to be keeping up with this shit. I am not skipping it back. I'm in autopilot just listening because it's kind of slow. 0109. I'm supposed to be keeping up with this shit. Hold on a second. Okay.
I've been, first of all, I have a claim with Walmart because I tripped and fell over a box there.
All right, goodbye. I'll see you later.
And I cracked my kneecap. So I started physical therapy this week. I think it's the 6th, I want to say. I could be wrong, but I think it's the 6th. And then plus I filed SSI, and I was denied, so I'm appealing that.
This bitch is after the money. In 1 week, she sued Walmart and filed SSI.
And I am homeless, so I live out of my car.
Yeah, goodbye. We're going to pass this hat around. We're going to pass this hat around for you, sister. But goodbye.
A friend of mine's father has let me stay in his airplane hangar, in the apartment that he has there, and it's clear in Middleton. And if I end up being on this trial, and as long as it lasts, they will boot me because they don't want just it being with all my stuff there, and I'm not going to be there. And to be cleaned and showered and all that good stuff, so, which I care about, so.
It's how did you get the mail? How did you even get the request? It's amazing. You should write a book. It's called The Bad, and the Ugly.
All right. I appreciate that information you provided as it relates to...
Hey, Your Honor, do you have any spare change? Hey, you better be nice. I have to wake up.
Plus, it's in Middleton.
Explain to me how far Middleton is from the courthouse.
It's about 45 minutes.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you have Star, then Middleton, and then Caldwell's on the other side. It's before Middleton.
All right. Does the state have any requested follow-up questionnaire or questions for Juror 1095?
No, Your Honor. Given the representations made today with that additional information, the state does not have any objection to excusing this juror.
All right, thank you. From the defense, Mr. Archibald?
The defense does not object to Juror 1095 being excused for hardship.
All right, the court's considered that explanation as well. I find good cause exists to allow for Juror 1095 to be excused for an expressed hardship for the reasons she stated. Juror 1095, then you can be excused. Thank you for your service.
She's going. Let me cross her off the list.
Again, if anyone bothers you about needing to talk about this case and you don't want to talk to them, please report that to the court. If you do want to talk to anyone about it, please be respectful of the court process as well as your fellow jurors' feelings on anything you discuss. And with that, you can go ahead and go. You're welcome.
That's it for that day. Let's see.
All right, for the remaining jurors here, was there anyone else that expressed any concern over the time commitment of the case and hardship? All right, there's no further responses there. The next topic, I'm just going to explain the topic, but we'll come back to that. The topic is as it relates to previous knowledge of the case. And if you'll give me just a moment to update my list.
All right, that's it for that this video. We got 20 extra minutes, man. I'm not meddling in. It's a marathon. Let's see. Can we go pick back up real quick and get another 20 minutes in? Okay. I might just cover everything east. I know I jump around a lot. I might just stay focused on East Idaho news. Even though I would say I'm up to, hey, it's the truth. I'm between 700 and 1,000 videos on this case. And as I'm playing it out in my mind, it might sound crazy, but I might be in for another 150 videos. So this is really the Lori Vallow cult mom Chad Daybell takeover. Because since I got to mention that in my marketing meeting later with Marlawn, I think my channel is stuck. I think my network is stuck on this channel for the foreseeable future. I didn't see that coming. Let me think about that. I can't switch the channel. I can't switch the channel. No, this is paying homage to where Sherlock begun. You know what? You can be so dumb sometimes and so smart at the same time. What you mean? You're watching a video about people seeing and getting their arrangements in order to be there for 8 weeks. Go on. You've been covering this trial since the beginning. Go on. Dumbass. If they have to be there for 8 weeks, guess where you're going to be for the next 8 weeks? You got a point. Yeah, that's a whole. I told you, man, I got holes in my thinking and shit like that, man. Let me write that down. I gotta bring that up in this marketing meeting. Let me write that down. Channel takeover. No, it's not channel. Network takeover. Aren't we busy for the next 2 months? At least. Quotations. Our coverage lags. So, for at least the next 10 weeks. You want to pin that to my shirt before I go to the... Yeah, I think I got to pin that, you dumbass. Let me pin that to your shirt and bring that up with your fucking boss. No wonder why you guys are fucking almost bankrupt. Let's go. Let's see. We might as well continue. Get a little bit more in. It's a marathon. Part 2. Estrogen. The poop man is back strong. They're pushing these commercials. Day 1, part 2, audio from Lori Vallow Daybell trial jury selection. You know what? I am so retarded. It's just really sinking. It's really sinking in. I got 13 other podcasts where the judge said it doesn't fit hardship. Motherfucker, fuck you. You're following this case. You're not getting let off. You know how ironic that is? I'm looking at these people, see if they can fit it in and fit it in their life. And my dumb ass is back here just da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Until Marlawn tapped me on my shoulder like, hey, dickhead, you better get, you know you have to make room for this trial, too. You know you got to do the same thing. Actually, it never dawned on me, man. I thought it was getting back to work. No. You're going through the same process they are, and we're not letting you off this case. I'm stupid, man.
The rest of you will.
So guess what, y'all? Guess what I'm going to be doing for the next 10 weeks? I'm going to be doing this. I'm here, baby. And that's why I should be in Idaho. I'm going to be doing the same damn thing. Hey, man, give me a break. I do. No judge. I got it. Yeah. I'm going to file bankruptcy. Yeah, no money for me for the next 10 weeks. Let's go.
Ask you some more questions on that topic here shortly. I'll move on to the next subject then. In this case, with the subject matter of the case, which, as I mentioned, the charges previously, when I read those, they involve charges of murder, conspiracy, and theft. Would the nature of those charges make it impossible or difficult for any of you to fairly and objectively evaluate the evidence in this case and render a fair and impartial verdict? Okay, no one responded to that question. I'll next ask some questions that should be obvious from reading your questionnaires, but I still need to ask these all on the record. Relating to any acquaintance with the defendant, are there any jurors here who are related in some way by blood or marriage to the defendant, or do you know her from any kind of business or social relationship? All right, no one answered affirmatively there. Does anyone here have any kind of a relationship of guardian and ward, master and servant, employer and employee, creditor and debtor, landlord and tenant, boarder or lodger between you and any of the attorneys here? Okay, no affirmative response. Are any of you a party in any civil litigation against the defendant? No response there. Have any of you ever brought a criminal complaint against the defendant, or have you ever been accused by any of the prosecutors handling this case of having committed a crime? All right. No response to that question. I'll next ask if you have any kind of relationship with the attorneys or potentially their firms. So for that part of the questioning, I'll have the prosecution first indicate who it is they work with in their offices, and again, introduce yourselves, and then I'll ask the defense so that we have those relationships established on the record. Why don't we start with you, Ms. Blake, if you'll explain who you work with in your office.
Thank you, Your Honor. So as the judge already introduced me, I'm Lindsay Blake. I have several attorneys that work in my office with me. They are Tanya Rawlings, Rocky Wixom, and Blake Hall. The judge also has already introduced Rob Wood. Within his office are Mackenzie Cole, Spencer Rammel, Troy Evans, and Adam Garvin. And then the judge has already introduced Rachel Smith as well.
All right. Mr. Wood, why don't we follow up with you? Or did she already go through your office? Okay. Thank you. Mr. Archibald, if you'd like to indicate that.
I'm a sole practitioner, just me.
All right. Mr. Thomas, who works in your office?
So I have Jordan Crane, Jason Gustavus, Timothy French, Alex Sosa, Tyler Salveson, Brad Rigby, Paul Butikofer, and Justin Bowles.
All right. With those names in mind, then I'll ask of the jurors, are any of you related by blood or marriage to any of the lawyers that were just mentioned, or do any of you know any of the lawyers from any professional, business, or social relationship? All right. No one answered affirmatively there. I'll next ask about whether or not you have any prior jury experience. If you have previously served on a jury in a case that went to trial, would you please raise your red card? Okay, we have several. Let's start on the front row there, juror 756. If you could just give a little more information about that.
755. I'm supposed to be paying attention. I heard a 756. Let me see. Let's see, last number 6, which is 756. Yeah, there we go. I'm supposed to be putting shit in their file. I'm lunching. Donations from the Sherlock Nation is the gas station of this operation for me. You rhyming. Say that again. Donation. I'm not trying to rhyme. No, I'm going to. Donations from the Sherlock Nation. It's the gas station of this operation. Still rhymed. For me to stay subscription and paywall free and to keep commercials at a minimum, while helping me stay independent and focused. I need help focusing. I'm supposed to be writing down what these jurors say and put it by their little number in my little file. I'm not doing it. Still quarter ass in it. Is to keep commercials at a minimum while helping me stay independent and focused. My address, PayPal, Venmo, and Cash App is in the information box. Leaving a 5-star review will help just as much. Hey, for some reason, nobody supports me, man. Nobody supports me. I'm dropping video after video after. Not rush content. My content is good. Don't hate. Other motherfuckers mailing in, dropping 10-minute videos, 5-minute videos. They put out the audio, and that's just it, because they don't have the time to sit through it with you guys. Everybody doing all that shit. They got 1 million stars, 10 million stars, 10,000 reviews, streams up the ass, 6-figure contracts. I'm thoroughly going through this case, 1,000+ hours with you guys, and nobody even left a fucking review since I started flooding the market with good content. I'm 100 videos in posting in the last 6 days, 7 days, 10 days, fuck it. Last 2 weeks, I'm over 100+ videos focused on this case. I haven't got one fucking review, not one fucking 5-star review. Motherfuckers. You know what? Keep that shit. Keep that shit. Because if I need that to survive, I'm in trouble anyways. If I need you motherfuckers for me to survive, I already know I'm in trouble. Go back and start fishing. I'm going to retire early. Just go fish on my fucking boat, man, or something. Your boat sunk. I still have it. It's in storage. I have both of them, you fucking bastard. Retired from my fucking boat. How dare you bring up the point that my boat is not functioning? How fucking dare you? I'm supposed to be putting the pressure on them to at least support me by leaving a review. My address, PayPal, Venmo, and Cash App is in the information box. Leaving a 5-star review will help just as much as possible. It takes a village to raise an independent podcast. The only way I can fail is from lack of support. You can't take your fucking fat fingers and leave a 5-star review. Just push the fucking button and you think you fucking like me? Karma is me going away. That's fair. That's fair. Everybody likes Sherlock. Not enough to fucking use their fat finger to push a review. I'm out here getting my fucking ass kicked. It's costing me money too. I can't do it forever. I have to join the rat race again.
When did you sit on that jury, and do you recall if it was a civil or criminal case?
It was 1983, and it was a civil case.
And where was that?
It was in Woodland, California.
Okay. Was there anything about your experience sitting as a juror in that case that you think would impact your ability to be impartial in this case?
No.
Okay. Thank you for your answer. Let's move back to the second row then of those that raised their card. Who was next? All right, sir, if you'd raise that card again one more time. Thank you.
929.
All right, juror 929. When did you serve on a jury, and what kind of case is it, if you recall?
Yes, I served on one here in Ada County 3 years ago, criminal case. And then one almost 30 years ago in Malheur County, Oregon.
All right, did both of those cases go through and reach a verdict? Do you recall?
Did.
All right. As you look back on both of those times you served as a juror, was there anything about that experience that you think would affect your ability to sit as an impartial juror in this case?
No.
Okay, thank you for your response. Let's talk to the next juror that raised their card, 1013. If you could state when it was and what type of case?
It was, I believe, 2015, somewhere around there. It was a criminal case.
And was that here?
No, it was in Santa Cruz County, California.
All right. Did you sit on a jury that reached a verdict in that case?
I did.
Was there anything about your experience in that jury service that you think would impact your ability to be an impartial juror in this case now?
No.
Okay, thank you for your answer. I think we had one more, or was that everyone? Juror number 1051. Would you explain when and where that case was and what type?
I believe it was here in Ada County, I think 2019. I'm not certain on the...
You believe and you think that shit was beginning of this case. Dismiss his ass.
Year. It was, I believe, a civil. It was resisting arrest.
All right, and was a verdict reached in that
Yes.
case? Was there anything about your experience in sitting on that jury that you think would impact your ability to be impartial in this case?
No.
Okay, thank you for your response.
We've been following this trial. I'm putting that in the file. 1051. He's shady. I've been following this trial longer than that. And you served on a jury in 2019 and don't remember? All right, let's go. He got to go.
Response.
You see this little device right here?
No, they're killing us with these commercials.
We'll next ask a more general question about this case. Have any of you ever formed or expressed an unqualified opinion that the defendant in this case, Mrs. Vallow Daybell, is guilty or not guilty of the offenses charged? Okay, no one answered affirmatively. Do any of you have any bias or prejudice either for or against the defendant, Mrs. Vallow Daybell, in this case? All right, there was no response there. The court, in your questionnaire, provided you with a large list of names of witnesses that may testify at this case. Are your answers there still accurate as to whether or not you know any of the witnesses? Okay. Are there any of you who are unwilling to follow my instructions to you, the jury, as to the law, and how you must apply the law in determining this case? There is no affirmative answer there. Do any of you have a religious or moral position that would make it impossible for you to sit in judgment of another or to render a fair and impartial verdict in this case? All right, there was no affirmative response there. Are any of you, if selected as a juror in this case, unwilling or unable to render a fair and impartial verdict based upon the evidence presented in this courtroom and the law as instructed by the court? All right, there was no affirmative answer to that either. And then finally, do any of you have any other reason why you believe you cannot give this case your undivided attention and render a fair and impartial verdict if you end up serving on the jury? All right, there were no responses to that either. This time then, the court will pass the matter for Attorney Vordaer, starting with the state. Who's going to be conducting Vordaer today? Ms. Blake?
I will be, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Blake, you can commence with the state's Vordaer at this time.
We're finished. We're to our hour. We'll let that finish next time. All right, thanks for supporting the Marlawn Podcast Network. 2 new episodes every day. Please check out my merch store. Link in the information box. My merch is my wardrobe. Yep, I'm selling the shirts off my back, the shoes off my feet, the pants off my ass. Hey, I thought you sell your shirt. Sell your mama's shirt, man. I'm not selling the sweatshirts. It's one of my favorites. You said I can keep what I want. But this minimalist shit is getting out of hand. I'm not selling it. Sell your mama's favorite sweatshirt. I ain't selling this shit. Own a piece of my personal life. I love those who love me. Before we get out of here, building up to this case, for the thought experiment, I know I keep bragging, keep patting myself on the back how many hours I spent following this case. But I just want to throw something out there. Hopefully you would think it's a cool idea too. I'm going into this trial as an unbiased juror. Jurors? I don't have enough money for that. I think they're offended by money. I think Jewish people are offended by money jokes. So watch it. I'm going into this trial as Jewish. You don't have enough money for that. I'm going into this trial as a juror, meaning my little thought experiment, even though I keep bragging about how long I followed this case is, I'm dumping my mind. I'm dumping my mind, baby. I'm going in there at the 13th juror. I'm dumping my mind and just living in the reality of I am a juror, and that's all I know is what they're saying. So if you want to join the party, go ahead. I love those who love me. Catchphrase.
one day. White fingers to the mantelpiece. He replied, "For me, Watson, there still remains the cocaine bottle." Delightful apple pie.
For many, happiness is quite straightforward. A glass of wine, good company, and in Watson's case, a good woman. As he himself commented in The Sign of Four,
I have an experience of women which extends over many nations and 3 separate continents.
for Holmes, life was more complicated.
He told me, women are not entirely to be trusted, Watson. Not even the best of them.
Holmes, as far as we... Pentacles is telling me that. I'm liking that, and I'm seeing more money come at the 6 of Pentacles.
All
So
right.
as far as money is coming, you're set, you're free. Now, what about the move? I don't see that you kept the house.
No, I didn't. He is getting the house.
And you're moving somewhere nicer once you get this money, aren't you?
I'm trying my best to, yes.
In about 6 weeks, it's going to come to pass. It's going to be a much nicer place, all right?
I like that.
Yeah, I know you do. I know you do. I also want you to cut off some of the mutual friends that you all had together.
Okay.
Because they're having some dilemmas about, maintaining loyalties.
Well,
And
that's not hard to do. He can have them.
Yeah, well, I see that. The three of Swords says you're like, get out of here.
Yes.
So I'm not so concerned about that. Still, everything legally looks fine.
Good.
And you do better to get rid of a lot of this excess garbage.
Good.
I have to take my hat off to you. This was not an easy thing for you.
No, it wasn't.
And you
either fly, or you fry. Every try, you always lie. Every female, every guy. Don't try to escape and get high. Now I lay me down to sleep. What I did do not happen to me. It might seem like I'm rapping the beat. I pray the Lord my soul to keep. If I die before I wake, my apologies for heaven's sake. My inner space is outer space. Too bad it went down this way. Run DMC, then walk this way. Stairway to heaven on the hip-hop beat. Staring at heaven even if I sleep. Wake up from death 7 days a week. Consciousness is continuously. All I know is eternity. To be or not to be. The beat is feeling kind of deep to me. Is it you? It speak to me. Voices in my head play a symphony. Bach mixed with Tupac, Beethoven. I stay smoking. I'm really trying to quit, but I stay smoking. I really want to hit, but I stay hoping. The days seem the same open. I really want to change. I hope you notice. Forgive me for my sins when I lose focus. Forgive you. I hope you're joking. Karma came back and stuck his nose in. What you chosen is the chosen. No alibi. Say goodbye.